Welcome back, SethBling here, and we are on SethBling's Redstone Challenge number 2. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of this map, showing you how to solve it, talking about some of the things that you'll need to know in order to solve it, and why I designed some of the levels the way I did. Obviously, this will contain some spoilers for the map if you haven't done it. You can check out the link to the map kind of release video in the video description. Now I'm doing the first two levels. I already did the first two levels here, so I'm not going to talk about them. But yeah, so I'm going to get to the walkthrough and just explaining, yeah, kind of how to do the levels, what kind of logic you need to use to solve them. So okay, the lamp. Let's start with the lamp. A lot of people are a little confused about why you can't just put the lever next to the door, turn it on, and open the door that way. And that's because the lamp here has a torch attached to it, which is powering this block, which is powering the door. So the door here is technically open. I kind of placed it sideways so that in its open position it blocks the way, and then when it's closed it doesn't block the way anymore. So you're trying to turn that torch off, which means you're trying to turn the lamp on. So in all the future levels we're going to be trying to turn the lamp on, and that's how that works. You can kind of rip into the map if you want to see that for yourself. Okay, so this first level is very easy. It's basically meant to introduce comparators if you've never seen them before. So what do we have? We're trying to turn on the lamp here. We need to get this line powered. In order to do that, we're going to have to power the back of the comparator. And we'll use this one. We can provide a weaker signal over here, but that wouldn't help necessarily. And in fact, I believe this line is so strong that it would, when the comparator compared this to the back, then it still wouldn't output its output signal. So we've got that in the back. We know we have to do that. This thing is providing a signal of 15 from the side, which is obviously going to cancel out the comparator. So I'm going to turn that off. And then we have power from over here, also turning the comparator output off. If we look at this one, that one's not preventing it. It must be this one that's preventing it. So we have a strong signal coming in the back of this comparator. And in order to turn off that signal, we can put a lever over here and overpower the side of this comparator. Now this one is allowed to let its signal through and the door opens. So just some basic comparator logic. If you just take the time to look at it, it's not too confusing. Okay, so what do we have over here? We have a lamp, a torch here, 3 torches here powering this torch. This is an AND gate. So basically you need all 3 of these blocks to be powered in order for this one to be powered. And so we have comparators coming off the hoppers. When a comparator is coming off a hopper, it detects the number of items in the hopper. So if I put one item in here, you'll see it disappears immediately. What's happening is the item's going sideways and then back, and it's landing right here, which is no good because if I just drop it in, you can see the comparator turns on for a sec, and then it turns back off as the item flows out. So one way to keep an item in a hopper is just to put a lever on it and power it. You can do this by using shift and left or right clicking. And so I'll do that on all 3, and then we'll just put one lever in each hopper. You can see now the comparator is staying on. So this is the trick to this puzzle, is really realizing that you can use the levers to power the hoppers by shift right clicking. Okay, we get 4 buttons in this level. Let's take a look at what we got. Okay, first of all, command blocks. These are, if you've never seen command blocks, they're blocks that run commands. We got some other stuff over here. Let's kind of work backwards. I think that's usually the best way to approach problems. All right, we've got this this lamp here. It's powered by this torch, which is, well, we want it to be powered by this torch, but the torch is currently being depowered from this torch. And we have this other repeater here. So we need the power to this block to be on and the power to this repeater to be off if we want that torch to turn on. So we'll need a signal to come in through here, through this repeater, which is currently locked. So we'll have to remove that lock in order to power this thing. So we have a daylight sensor, and that's what's locking this repeater. So how do we get a signal in here? Okay, well, we have to look at this command block. What is this command block? Clear at P2932. All right, let's come back to that. We have time set 1,000, that's the beginning of the day. Time set 14,000, that's night. And in fact, I can go ahead and do this. Time set night, can see it turns to night, time set day. When I set the time to night, that's going to update the daylight detector, and so that actually does turn off the lock on this repeater. I'm going to set the time to day, the lock comes back on. Give at P 293. So what's 293, you may wonder? It's a diamond hoe. And then clear at P 293 too. So what's the deal with this one? It's got a comparator coming out the back of it, and what that means is when the command is successful, the comparator is going to be powered. When the command's unsuccessful, the comparator is going to be unpowered. So basically, we need to get this command to be successful in order to power this repeater, and we'll need that lock to be off. So we're going to set the time to night. So this clear command needs to be successful. If I push the button, though, it's not. Clear at P 293.2. So what does that mean? Let's type /help clear, and we can see. So clear player item data. So clear at P is going to be the nearest player. Item is 293. That's a hoe. Data is 2. So what that means is basically it'll only clear a hoe if it has exactly 2 damage on it. And to put damage on the hoe, I'm going to use right click on this. Wow. Okay. On this, sorry, my phone's just going crazy right now. On the hoe, so I right click on this and then I jump on it to reset it, and I right click again. Now it's got 2 damage on it. When I hit this button, it's going to successfully clear the hoe for me because it met the criteria. This comparator is going to turn on. Now we have this repeater on. Now what I'm going to do is set the time to day, and that's going to lock this repeater. So you'll notice since this power is on, we're also powering this repeater. We didn't want to power this one. I'm just going to hit the button over here again. It's going to fail because I don't have a hoe with 2 damage. And so now this one's on, this one's off, and we get through. All right, on to the next one. In this one we get 2 levers. It's another comparator one. So we have a bunch of comparators and some repeaters in here. We've got torches over here and a torch here. So this is another AND gate. We need all 4 of these blocks to be powered. How do we do that? Well, 2 of them are already powered, and they're getting powered by these comparators over here. We have additional comparators over here that are all kind of receiving power from these comparators. Okay, so we have to decipher what all this means. In order to get power to here, we have to reduce, it's getting powered from the back. So what's causing it to not output very strongly is the redstone line coming in from the side. Otherwise, it would pass on the signal strength of 15. This comparator is in subtraction mode, so it's going to subtract the side signal from the back signal. And so it's going to be 15 minus whatever the signal is here. So if we decrease the signal strength over here, then this will output a longer signal, or a stronger signal. But how do we decrease the signal strength over here? Well, we have another comparator here in subtraction mode. So in order to decrease the signal strength over here, we have to power it from the side. And that's going to decrease the signal strength over here too. So we have to, it's kind of a careful balance between these two. We have to increase the signal strength over here by decreasing the signal strength, but they both have to reach their repeaters over here. And so let me show you what happens if I come over here and put down a lever. The signal strength over here is increased. The signal's going farther. Signal strength is decreased. It's still reaching the repeater, so I can afford to move it. I'm just going to use trial and error to solve this rather than actually deducing exactly what I need. Okay, so we can see the signal's getting pretty weak towards the repeater here. It needs another block, though, to go to reach this repeater. So I'm just going to move it 1 more and turn it on. Okay, so that worked. This one's now strong enough that it reaches the repeater. This one's not so weak that it doesn't reach this repeater. So both of these torches are off, and yeah, both of those blocks are powered, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to do a similar thing over here. Try this. Okay, we still have a long ways to go to get this signal strength, because this is just a mirror image. It's the only difference is the repeaters, repeater configuration in the middle of the lines on this one. So if I just move it down a bit, not quite. I'm still 2 blocks away, so I need to move this one 2 more. There we go, and the door opens. So we increase the signal strength just enough and decrease the signal strength just enough that it reaches the repeater here still. We can move on. All right, what level are we on? Each book is labeled with a number, so we're on number 6 now. Okay, we got a redstone comparator and a big stack of redstone. Let's take a look at this. Here we have a hopper with a comparator coming out of it, and so we're going to have to fill this hopper with some items, but we can't reach the hopper directly. Oops. I was trying to right-click. We can reach this dropper, and this dropper, as it turns out, is pointed at the hopper. So we can put items in the dropper, and if the dropper receives power, it's going to put them into the hopper. If we take a look, though, we can see the hopper is pointed back at the dropper. So even if we get items into the hopper, they're going to flow immediately back into the dropper, unless we can power the hopper, but there's really no way to do that. So what do we have to do here? Basically, we have to, well, okay, let me show you. If we can power, we have this this redstone signal here. We can power this, and that'll power the dropper. The dropper actually did send an item to the hopper. Let me actually move this down, and I'll do it again. So I'm going to depower and power. So we powered the dropper. So what happened is it dropped an item into the hopper, and then the hopper sent it back, and that's why it's in the first stack here. Okay, so the solution for this one is to use a comparator clock. You put the comparator like this on subtraction mode, and it's going to blink like that. Now we connect it up. It's going to blink on and off, and basically the dropper is going to start dispensing items into the hopper. The hopper is sending items back, but the dropper is going so fast that that the hopper can't send items back as fast as it's sending them. So we get enough items into the hopper here, and the door opens. That one's just all about making that clock. Okay, so we get 8 diamonds in this one. Diamonds aren't really a redstone component, but they are going to allow us to solve this puzzle. So again, we have a torch, controlling the lamp here. We have big redstone line. Okay, so this stuff, I'm just going to ignore this stuff for now, but because it's just, there's a redstone line comes in here, and then there's a bunch of repeaters. So basically, if we can turn off this redstone line, all of these repeaters are going to turn off because they're all pointing out away from this block here, and then reconverging here. So if we turn this redstone line off, this torch is going to turn on. If the redstone line is blinking, that's what all these repeaters are for. But I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. Okay, so we have a big box of redstone around here that is all powered by these torches on the inside of the box, of the circle, whatever you want to call it. So we have to turn off all of these torches in order to get this line to turn off. How are the torches being powered? Well, they're not being powered, but we want them to be powered by these comparators. And the comparators are coming from some hoppers. You can kind of see the hoppers. It's a little hard to see where they're pointing or whatever. There's a hopper in the middle. We don't know where that goes. The only way to really find out what's going on here is to toss an item in. So I'm going to put a single diamond in here, and we'll see what happens. So we can follow the path of this comparator signal as it goes around, and we can see it's just making a counterclockwise loop. So basically all of these hoppers are forming a counterclockwise loop. The hopper here is not receiving any of them. Basically the hopper here just puts the items into the loop, and then you can't get the item back. So that's okay. I'm just going to at this point drop in the rest of my diamonds, and they're going to slowly filter out of this hopper into this loop. And what we'll see is basically the items spread out on their own, just because that's kind of how it works in a hopper loop. The items spread out, but there's still occasionally a spot where there's no item in a hopper. And so we can see this line is blinking off, but it's not blinking off for long enough that this entire line can be depowered and the torch can turn on. So basically we have to make sure that this circuit is steady. So there's levers on top of these blocks, and the levers are going to allow us to keep the items in the correct spot on the hoppers. So if I power one of them, what we'll see is all the items flow into this single hopper. They all go around, make their loop. When they come here, though, this powered hopper doesn't output any items. So we now have all 8 diamonds in this hopper. What we're going to do is we're going to allow one of them to flow around into this hopper. So I'm going to do that by just flicking the lever on and off and on, and we can see, well, I didn't look very well. Basically the diamond just float around, and I'll look better on this one. So I flick it off and on, and one diamond comes around, and it gets stopped here because this one's powered. And we're just going to keep doing that to get a single diamond to flow through. It flows through, and just repeat. I think this is kind of a neat puzzle here, neat solution. Anyway, so now the line here is permanently off, and these repeaters have no problem turning off. This torch turns on. We did it. All right, moving on to puzzle number 8. Okay, we get 7 redstone, 2 repeaters. This one looks very simple. You have a pressure plate over here that powers a line. All we need to do is get the signal over here to this block, which will power the line and turn on the lamp. But the problem comes when we try and actually do it, and we don't have enough to reach. And there's nothing we can really do about that. So the solution for this one is to basically slowly walk the signal over. And you do that by, here, we're going to create a little repeater loop and turn the power on. Now, this thing is powering itself, and we're going to try and walk that power over that way. In order to do that, I'm basically just going to just slowly walk the power over. I'm going to use repeaters on 4 ticks so that I have enough time to break and replace some redstone with whatever I need. And you can see I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. And it's pretty simple once you see how to do it. And there's really no timing challenge on this one. Oh, shoot. I missed it. I'm gonna cut and get to the point there again. One sec. All right, I got it back. Yeah, so just walking this over. The mistake that I made was I didn't have the right slot selected on my hotbar in order to place the item quickly. Kind of get in the habit of not caring too much about how quickly you place items, but okay, so at this point I can just get it done. All right, so we get the signal over, and that's that. It's a little bit tricky. We're going to actually come back to a puzzle just like that later, but not yet. Okay, so in this one we just get 11 redstone. Oh yeah, this one is a bit tricky. What number are we on? This is number 9. Okay, so come over to the ends. We see there's a redstone, a glowstone. Okay, we have a torch here. We have a torch powering that and some repeaters that could power it. So what we need is we need to have power here in order to turn this torch off, and then we need to not have power here so that the line comes on here. And so basically what we need is we need this line to get powered exactly up to this point and no farther. Okay, so how do we get that to happen? Well, what we've got here is basically a comparator loop. So we've got 2 comparators facing each other. They're both in subtraction mode. Now, when this is basically gonna keep the state of the power level. So if we had a power level of, say, 8 here, it would power this one at 8, which would power this line at 8, which would power this at 8, which would power this at 8. So it's kind of like an RS NOR latch, but for signal strength. And I've used these before. And so yeah, when we power it from here, we're going to give it a signal strength of 15, and it's going to remember that signal strength of 15. Now we have lines coming in from the sides into the subtraction mode comparators, which is going to decrease the signal strength and basically lower the state of this little memory circuit. And so, okay, what's going on over here? Well, there's a bunch of circuitry, but the gist of it is when I step on this, you can see the repeater there comes on for 1 tick. So since we can't do anything here, that's all that really matters. We get a 1 tick pulse from this circuit. So how much redstone do we have? Oh my god, my phone again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, just check my phone. We're good. I apologize, I really do. All right, so we have just enough that we can. Whoa. What just happened to my redstone? What the heck? It's punishing me for taking. I don't know what just happened. My redstone just disappeared. Like, I didn't drop it. I right clicked and it's gone. Anyway, need that redstone to solve the puzzle for sure. It's not still in here or something, right? So weird. I've never seen that before. Huh. Anyway, we have just enough to reach any one of these gold blocks. We have just enough to reach this one. We could, if we wanted, reach both of those at the same time, but I can tell you it's not going to be necessary. So the first thing we're going to do here is step on this pressure plate, and we're going to set that signal strength to 15. So we can see the line over here comes, and it is 15 strong. But we want it less than that. So we saw that the ones on the sides kind of decrease the signal strength, and we're going to get 1 tick pulses out of here. So we're going to decrease the signal strength just for 1 tick. It's going to be enough that it's going to decrease the strength of the circuit. So how much does it decrease it by? Well, you could work it out by actually calculating the numbers. I'm just going to try it out and see what happens. So we have a signal strength of 15 right now. When I step over on this pressure plate, we get the 1 tick pulse, and let's just see what happened. Okay, well, these 3 redstone are dark, so it looks like it decreased it by 3. Let's try it again. 1 tick pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, it decreased it by 6 there. Just do it one more time. Yeah, another 3. So 1, 2, 3. So every time I press that, it does 3. And of course I knew that, but I'm just doing this for your benefit. So what about this one? Let's reset it back up to 15. I'm going to try it out. Okay, so we reset it back up to 15. So this circuit now is outputting signal strength of 15. Let's try this guy. Okay, when I step on the pressure plate over here, this was at 15. Oh, whoops, that was the same one. I meant to do the other side. This one. Take a bite. Nom. Okay. So, okay, well, it's down by 3. Let's do this thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it lost a total of 2 there. If it removes 2, then it'll remove 2 again, and that's exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to press this, and it does indeed remove 2 from this circuit. Let's drop this back by 2. Now we have the line exactly where we want it to be, powering this one but not this one, and that opens the door. So in summary, this one resets the circuit output to 15, this one subtracts 3, this one subtracts 2. And we basically needed to remove a total of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we removed 3, and then 2, and then 2. Kind of tricky. A little bit of an advanced circuit, but kind of cool actually. Pretty useful. I think I'm going to end it here and continue tomorrow with the remaining puzzles. And just so we don't have it all at once. So join me next time when I go through puzzles 10 through 17 and show you those solutions and walk you through them. That's about it. Thanks for watching.